All right. Good morning, everyone. This is episode 11 of Will I Find UX Content. I know the screen share is missing because I connected my second monitor after I opened OBS. That's why it's not picking up the signal. Let me quickly fix that. Just give me a minute. Okay, it says no properties available. I'm going to click on defaults. Hmm. Okay. Okay, I think this will take a little more time. I'm sorry about this. I'll just quickly try to set this up. Display capture, I will say external monitor. Go to settings. Oops, interesting. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So yeah, this is okay. I need to yes. Yeah. All right. So yeah, today again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, based on wherever you are on the planet. So today we are going to talk about 100 things every designer needs to know about people. Now, so I was going through this book just before this streaming session, right, if I can call it that. Um, what I found is many of the topics, and I was trying to recollect what I read from this book. And who is reading this book, I was going to read this book because I recommended this book to a lot of people. It's still a good book. What I recalled is that, and as I was going through the topics as well, is everything that you read in this book, you should take it with a pinch of salt. Uh, it, it is applicable in many cases, all the principles that they talk about in this book. But in many cases, depending on your specific use case, it may or may not be accurate or applicable. Right. So what I mean by that. So let's go over the topics on the left hand side. Let me zoom in properly. All right. So if I say, I think I found this one specific topic. Yeah, people remember only four items at once. Right. So this I'll try and cover this tomorrow, right? What is the right way to approach this particular principle? But this may not be 100% accurate in all the cases. Your users may be able to remember or rather recollect, right? So there is a slight difference between recollection and remembering more than four items. Right. So this is one example of a principle in this book where you have to take it with a pinch of salt because if you are most of the time, in any design situation, what people do is they design for recollection and not remembrance. I'll zoom out. Right. So anyway, let's go over some of the principles today and see where it takes us. All right, peripheral vision. Okay, yeah, I think this is something that I came across in this book and at least one other book. Right, I think it was Noel Harari. I don't remember. It's about evolution. Let's see if we can find this one. Noel Harari books. I'm looking at yeah, Sapiens and looking at the OBS screen here and seeing if the text is readable. So yeah, this was the other book that where I came across that people use peripheral vision more than the central vision. That's what they are calling it here at least. Right. So central vision is what you use to look at things directly and to see details. Peripheral vision encompasses the rest of the visual field areas that are visible but that you are not looking at directly, right? Basically, at the corner of your eyes or the corner of your vision is your peripheral vision. Right now, I'm just looking to see if there is a visual representation of what is a peripheral vision and what is a central vision. Yeah. So yeah, this is a representation that they are showing. Right? This is a very bad contrast. I'm sorry if you're not able to see. Basically, whatever you see inside of the circle is your central vision, and whatever you see in this ring, right, or in this donut, is your peripheral vision. And why this is important, right? One application for peripheral vision is especially desktop notifications, your Chrome notifications or Mac notifications. I think there is a notification in Windows as well. And always, if you see all of these notifications, don't just appear or they don't fade in, right? They slide in from left, they slide in from the bottom, they slide in from the top. And the reason is because of the way that we uh, evolved, right? We were hunters and gatherers. And disclaimer, I am not an expert in evolution, so I may be wrong here and there slightly, but I'll try to be as accurate as I can. Right. So because we were hunters and gatherers for a very long time, our peripheral vision played a very key role during hunting, right? Because we were very alert and we were constantly in a survival mode. Right? And anything that moves anywhere in our um, vision, right? Both including central vision and peripheral vision, especially peripheral vision, because that's where we pay the least amount of attention. But we still, I think, give a lot of importance to what goes on in our peripheral vision in a sense. Because as soon as something moves in our peripheral vision, we involuntarily turn in that direction, right? If I see something moving in that direction, I just, involuntarily, subconsciously turn in that direction. Right. So yeah, because of this, peripheral vision is very, very sensitive, if I can say that, right? And because most of the time, if you see and if you also see the heat maps, right? One of the corners. I'm sorry, let me just take some water. If you if you take any heat map study it for a website, it is primarily in the center section and on the top left and the top right because that's where you have the brand and you have your user icons. Right, it's very less usually on the bottom left and on the bottom right. I'll validate and update you guys, or let's see. How does the heat maps? I was going to say I'll validate and let you guys know tomorrow, and I felt like a professor. Anyway, so heat map analysis website, or UX. Okay, images. Yeah, yeah. So as you can see here, right, most of the time, the area that people look at is at the center. And in the corners, it's very rare unless there is something that is very important placed there. Right, and if you see here, in this is Facebook's heat map. Most of the time, it's around the center. Okay, I don't think it's Facebook. It's Priceline. It's around the center or the left side center. It's basically not in the corner. All right now, even though we don't directly look at the sites in the corners, whenever something moves, right? The keyword is whenever something moves we immediately pay attention, and that's why notifications always have that slide in animation. And again, going back to because of the way that we are evolved, we immediately pay attention to those notifications. And in practice, if there are too many notifications, we tend to ignore, but we ignore. Ignoring is a more conscious um, decision, a more conscious action than noticing something. Right? You still notice the notifications, but you don't. You choose to ignore them. Right? If they are too many. And so that is one way to apply this central vision versus peripheral vision principle. And let's go back and read the heading once more. Peripheral vision is used more than central vision to get the gist of what you see. Right. So let's see what they are talking about and how are they suggesting that this can be. I'm just checking if there is enough audio feed going in. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm constantly worried if you guys can hear me. That's why I keep checking sometimes uh, if the mic is getting the feed, the audio feed. All right, now going back to this, how are they suggesting this can be applied? Because they talk about that as well to our ancestors. Okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about. Peripheral vision kept our ancestors alive on this earth. Takeaways. Okay, people use peripheral vision when they look at a computer screen and usually decide what a page is about based on a quick glimpse. Okay, although the middle of the screen is important for central vision, don't ignore what is in the viewer's peripheral vision. Okay, communicates clearly the purpose of the page and the site. Okay, that's interesting. We'll come back to that. If you want users to concentrate on a certain part of the screen, don't put animation or blinking elements in the peripheral vision. Yeah. So coming to the second item, right, what they are basically saying is if we go back to our heat maps, as you can see, in most of them, right, this is one example where a lot of attention is paid to the left side filters, or I'm assuming these are filters, or maybe this is this is priceline.com and looking at these, I'm assuming this is a stock trading or some product related to trading, and this may be your what do you call it? Watch list. Yeah, that's the word I was going for. So watch list is basically all the stocks that you add to a to some list, which is called a watch list, and you just keep tracking the prices more actively. Yeah, right? Maybe this is that, and that's why this has a lot of attention. Or if it is, let's say filters and stuff, maybe that also gets attention. Let's look at this one. I'm not sure which website this is. Let's see if we are able to find it by. Okay, it says okay UNBF. Okay, I'm not able to figure out which site this is. Yeah, I mean here, even though this is not, I wouldn't call it a corner, but this is still close to a corner or an edge. And yeah, so in the second point, what they are basically saying is beyond the central vision, basically your navigation, your brand, and maybe sometimes your copyright information. I don't know how that is important. Like I said, this is another example where you have to take it with a pinch of salt. So if you have your navigation on the left-hand side or at the top, pay attention to what you put there, right? And make sure it gives a good idea about the site because based on what they are saying here, it's probably the first place that people are looking at and judging your website basically, right? Whether they want to stay on the website, whether they will be able to find something on your website or not. Right? And a counterintuitive way to use this is ads. I was just recollecting, okay, what are the other things that people usually put in the top and in the left-hand side, right? Or banners. They probably know that that's where people pay the first immediate attention, if not the most attention in a session. And that's why probably ads are put up at the top, or banners are put up at the top, and on the left hand side and the right hand side, anywhere in your peripheral vision. Right, and again, take this with a pinch of salt, right, and see if, how you can apply this in your specific use case. And the last one is if you want users to concentrate on a certain part of the screen. Don't put animation or blinking elements in their peripheral vision. Let me take some water. I don't know, in the morning, my throat is constantly kind of weird, groggy, I want to say, but I don't know if that's the right term to use. So yeah, anyway, if you want users to concentrate, now this is again, like I said, notifications is a great example, but use it, um, I would say, more mindfully. Don't keep throwing notifications because people will subconsciously notice the notifications. But again, like I said, if it is too much, if they are too many, people will consciously ignore them, right? Even though they notice them, they will ignore them. Or even worse, they will probably turn off the notifications for your product. And I have done it a lot of times on my phone. I've not done it on a desktop because I don't, in the first place, have many applications that send me notification. I think Mac OS is, as a whole, system notifications is one thing. And when I say system notifications, it is mostly updates, or maybe all of them are OS updates. And the other notifications that I get from the two other applications, one is Creative Cloud. Whenever I have an update, again, for any of the applications, it sends me a notification. And the other type of notification in Creative Cloud is whenever I install something and it is a background process and I am doing something else, right? And it sends me a notification once that application is installed, which I always found useful because I'd like to open that application as soon as it is installed, right? And the third thing that I remember is notifications from Edge browser. Again, the same thing for updates, right? And yeah, it says you have an update. Do you want to install now, or do you want to install it in the next browser restart, basically? All right. So yeah, just be mindful of how you send a notification. And one application where I snooze notifications, right? Not turn off notifications because snooze is it pauses notification for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. Is Slack, especially when I am in a meeting where I have to pay attention, where I cannot afford to have distractions. That's when I snooze or pause notifications in Slack. Because sometimes, right when I am in a meeting again, where I want to pay attention is when I get messages, especially in channels, right? So I pause the notifications 30, 35 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever. The time, that I don't want notifications. So yeah, that's how one item or one thing from 100 things work, right? Let's see what else we can look at today. I'm gonna zoom in again so you guys can also read. People imagine objects tilted at a slight angle. Okay, I don't want to do that. People identify objects by recognizing patterns, which I think we already saw. There is a special part of the brain. People see cues that tell them what to do. Okay, let's see what this one is. If this is the thing that I think. Okay, let's read through this for a minute. Okay, I'm sorry I'm skipping through this. Just give me a minute. I will give you a summary. Okay. Yeah, this is, I think, one of the fundamental things I was going to say. A basic principle that everyone should learn. And this is probably the first thing you will learn when you start out as a UI designer or a UX designer, right? They talk about affordances. People see cues that tell them what to do with an object, which is pretty much an affordance, right? And I have a Borosil flask, and it says push here, right? In this, okay, if I can bring it closer, and I don't know if you guys can read here. Basically, whatever you see in this area, it says push, right? And it also has a small crevice, which naturally I think communicates. So that's what they are saying. If I read that particular part, in the real world, the highlighted section objects communicate to you about how you can and should interact with them. So as soon as I press this knob, right, it just opens. And when I close this, there is a click sound, as you guys also heard. Um, that gives me some feedback that it is locked. Right, that's what pretty much they are talking about in this one. Whenever you look at any object in real life or on screen, uh, it communicates how you can use that, how you can hold it, how you can perform an action. Right, if it is a Rubik's cube, you can rotate it in all directions. If it is a door handle, you can either hold it and twist it. If it is, something that is, okay, let me go to this one. Yeah, something like this, you have to hold it and then, push it down or push it up. Usually, this push it down because that's how most of the doors work. And yeah, that's pretty much what they are talking about and how your design should also uh, communicate accurately what the users can do with it. And this is an example of what it shouldn't be. Right? So this is clearly a handle where I can hold like this and pull, right? But it says push. And just zoom in case you cannot read it. It clearly says push when the object itself makes it affordable to actually pull than push. Right now, if I have to give an example of this is something that I like, and this is a very classic example of tormentos. Yeah, that's what they are called. Now I go here. Yeah. So how should you design? Right. Now let me open this in a new tab. Oops. I wanted to open this image in a new tab. So this, I'll come to this in a moment. Right. So push is you just put a strip on the door, and naturally people will try to push this because they don't have anything to hold in any fashion. The only thing that they can do with this type of door is just push it. Of course, this is imagine this as a strip that is pasted, a strip of metal that is pasted on the wall, not something that you can, the one that is slightly outside of the door, which is like a T, that you can pull, right? But yeah, imagine this whenever you are designing or you see a well-designed door, it'll have just a strip which you can just push, right? And this they are exaggerating. Obviously, this is just a U thing that is put vertically or perpendicularly on the door, which you can hold like this and then pull, right? And then of course this is turn whenever you have those one of those round knobs. You just hold them like this, claw them, and then twist them and open it, right? So basically, the point is whenever you are putting any clickable items, right, or any other, let's say even click and drag sorting, there are these drag and drop interfaces. where users can move around, click and drag items and move things around. All right. Anytime you have any of those interactions on the screen, make sure there is enough visual cue on or in the design uh, to tell the users what they can do. Right now, let me see if we can find some good examples. I mean, for a click, it's pretty straightforward. Now here, I mean, because of minimalism, this pretty much is an outlined box. But I think uh, people do trial and error, especially for something or someone as big as Google. They can afford, pun intended, afford to experiment with things like this because this clearly does not look like a button. Um, but maybe, because people use this so much, or maybe people still think, okay, I see something similar to what I am looking for, right? It says chat, and they have a small chat inside this. Maybe when I click on it, right, it doesn't look like it is clickable, this particular item. But maybe when I click on it, I'll be able to, get something similar. And chat is something what I am looking for. Right, you know what I'm saying? It's basically trial and error. And if you have a site that is not as big as Google, a better idea is to just stick with the basics and probably show some in some way that this is clickable. Maybe it is slightly raised and stuff. Right. Now let's find some other examples. Buttons. Okay, let's see what Microsoft says. Okay, buttons. Okay, again, sign again. Microsoft proves. Okay, just song. You say block. Okay, yeah, I was looking for these buttons. So if you remember seeing these type of buttons, especially if you are a designer, this is from I think 2000. I think this is from 2002, 2003. And yeah, this was more popularized by the iPhone. I think it was released in 2006. All glossy. I even forgot the name for this. It starts with R, or what? Flat versus. Okay, I'm hoping versus. Okay, flat design versus neomorphism, skeuomorphism. I'm sorry, yeah, it's skeuomorphism. So that's where you will see all of these different, this practically looks like a compass, right? And if you remember the old Chrome icon, mostly, they all look like physical objects. And what that does is, this one clearly looks like you can press it. You can click it because we have seen these type of buttons in real life, but this I don't know if it looks clickable. But again, if the intention is for this to be clickable, then this is definitely doing a very bad job. Right, and again, they are actually putting two items. So this another principle is I think it's called. Okay, I'm forgetting what it is called. UX loss. Yeah, there are so many of these things that. Hicks law, the time it takes, Jacob's law. Yes, it is Jacob's law, where says users spend most of their time on other sites, which means that you prefer your site to work the same way as all other sites they already do. Right? So because people are already used to clicking a rectangle, especially a rounded rectangle with text on it, they might still perceive this as clickable. But when the transition was happening from a button like this that clearly looks like it is clickable or pushable to this, it was confusing for a lot of users and might still be confusing for a lot of new users, completely new users who are they have they have a term for that as well. And yeah, I am planning to start a website, slightly going off topic, where I'm going to curate all of these terms, uh, sort of like a UX glossary or a product glossary, where you can, immediately go and look for it, search for it, and find out what you want to recollect. Because that's where I struggle a lot, because there are so many of these terms, and there are so many of these new terms. It's impossible to remember all of them and to keep track of them. Right now, yeah, coming back to this. For completely new users who are using a computer for the first time, or using a mobile for the first time, it may not be very evident that something like this is clickable. And I'm sure there are research papers that clearly states that this versus this, we will click this type of a button more often than a button like this. Yeah, right, so something to consider. But yeah, we were talking about affordances and how you're again going back to, this is another classic example of a calculator where this looks clearly clickable, and this is definitely very dumb. Right now, so yeah, some things to keep in mind. Just, in terms of how affordable, and especially we used to have sliders to unlock phones, where you slide from left and right. Let me see if I can find that. Slide to unlock. I think there are slide to pay as well. So this actually was an animation, and what this does is this shine that you see here. I'll again zoom in or open this image in a new tab. Slide to unlock GIF. Let me see if I can find a GIF. Okay, not that. Yes. Oh damn. Okay, this is funny. Let's see if this is a GIF. It's not a GIF. It's oh. Okay, what did I click on? Sorry about that. Okay, let's see if this is, yes, this is what I am looking for. Something similar, not exactly what I'm looking for. Let's see if this is legit. Yeah, this is legit that I'm sorry, the PNG is so horribly done, and it has such rough edges, but this pretty much shows what I was looking for. Right, so this was iPhone's interface, and they wanted users to slide to unlock the iPhone. Now, as is without this animation, right, if I look at something like this, which is static, it may not be very clear, especially for someone who do not understand English, right? And say hypothetically they don't have any text even, right? This is just an empty box, and you have this arrow and just this button. It may not be very clear that you have to click and drag this, right? Probably the other misconceptions could be, or other misinterpretations could be that this button will automatically move from left to right for something, right, or to unlock, and there is nothing you can do it, right? Hypothetical situations. Now with this, the other one, this is slightly more clear. With text, you are communicating to the user that you have to slide, um, or maybe a little more clear text could be, please slide. But again, that can be misconstrued in a lot of different ways. I'll share a video with you guys in the description, right, which talks about how instructions can be completely misconstrued. Right. So yeah. Now maybe the text can be slightly different. It says that you have to, something in the lines, not exactly this, something along the lines of you have to slide. or slide this arrow or slide this button to unlock, something like that. So it's a little more evident. And what they are doing on top of that is giving the users a visual cue by sliding the sign that on the text, right? That it has to go from this to this. And what I remember is they also, whenever people try to tap on this, they just shake the arrow, right? And that also is an indication that they have to move the arrow to unlock, right? So this is an example of how you can think about affordances in your designs and try to communicate as much as possible to the users to make it obvious uh, what they have to do to achieve a certain or to complete a certain task or achieve a certain goal and so on, because that's very important, because if users are confused what they can or cannot do with the interface, it becomes impossible to navigate or find what they want to find again, complete a task, complete a goal, and whatnot. Right? So, an affordance plays a key role uh, in making that communication with the users. So, with that, I'll pause here, and yeah, the risk of showing my two PIs in full screen. Uh, so yeah, today I think was a good session. I'm sorry I was not able to live stream on Friday. I was not well, so I was just taking it easy on a long weekend. So I will continue with a few more topics from this book. I'll probably though skip to the next book after tomorrow. And yeah, like I said, I strongly recommend this book, but take everything that you read in this book with a pinch of salt. Many of the things that are said in this book are applicable. I'm saying are so many times applicable in many cases, but in many cases they can be a little misleading also, right? Based on your specific use case. So yeah, take it with a pinch of salt and see if it makes sense for wherever you want to apply this, right? Or anything that you read in this book. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, bye bye.